The panel announced Jerry and Rick's day of fun, with stark irony, as Jerry's anxious voice drifted from within the house, warning Morty not to eat too many pancakes. Soon after, he declared his departure for a job interview, asking his unseen family with a hopeful plea, "Wish your father some luck, eh?" At the breakfast table, Rick nonchalantly announced to a bewildered Morty that his bowels needed to be pretty clear today for some unknown purpose, causing Morty to exclaim, "Huh, what do you need my bowels for, Rick?" As Jerry nervously tapped his fingers, Summer simply scrolled on her phone, utterly unconcerned by the chaotic start to their day. A spoonful of cereal suspended before his mouth, Morty's eyes went wide with pure apprehension as Rick nonchalantly announced, "They need a place to stay." "So I told them I know just the grandson." He braced himself for whatever chaotic, unwelcome visitors his grandfather had just volunteered him to host. Jerry, shifting uncomfortably, announced he was off to a job interview, seeking some luck from his family. However, Beth paused mid-meal, gazing at him with open skepticism, wondering what interview he could possibly mean, while Summer fixated on his accessory, openly questioning why he carried that dumb man bag. Jerry, dejected and feeling overlooked, defensively grumbled, "I mentioned it last week. Typical of you all to forget all about me." Summer, her gaze sharp with judgment, couldn't help but question his appearance. "You're going to a job interview dressed like that?" as Rick casually continued eating, oblivious to the family drama. With a nervous, forced laugh, Jerry waved his hand, insisting, "Haha, sure I am. Gotta run, or I'll be late." His wide, somewhat desperate eyes and strained smile clearly showed the underlying anxiety of someone trying to appear confident while rushing to a crucial job interview. As Beth sat at the breakfast table, her gaze distant and weary, she couldn't help but wonder aloud, why is he carrying that dumb man bag with him? With a dismissive sigh, she quickly added, "Wait, I stopped caring forever ago," while a wide-eyed Morty quietly focused on his food, a silent observer to his mother's strained indifference. Jerry bolted down the street, casting a worried glance back as his forced cheer evaporated, his anxious expression betraying his desperate attempt to outrun the morning's unspoken tension with Beth. Morty's wide, apprehensive eyes glanced back down the quiet street, a familiar sense of dread creeping in. Far in the distance, a silhouetted Rick waved almost nonchalantly, his call to adventure likely ringing silent, but clear in Morty's mind. As Rick stood with arms wide open, his voice boomed with a familiar, yet unsettlingly casual greeting. "Hello again, old pal." Morty, his eyes bulging and a wide, almost manic grin plastered across his face, mirrored the embrace, his prior dread momentarily replaced by an unnervingly eager welcome for his grandpa. With a wide, toothy grin and eyes squeezed shut, Rick wrapped the green-shirt figure in a surprisingly heartfelt embrace, exclaiming, "Rick J19, Alpha 7, it's been too long." Rick J19, Alpha 7, though looking a little overwhelmed, leaned into the hug, a small, genuine smile gracing his face. With a wide, unnerving grin and one arm flung high, Rick Sanchez brandished his portal gun as he declared, "Are you ready for Jerry and Rick's day of fun?" Morty could only gaze up at his grandpa, a familiar wave of dread washing over him at the promise of such an inevitably chaotic outing. Jerry Smith practically glowed, his eyes wide and mouth spread in a proud grin as he held up a shirt proclaiming, "Jerry and Rick's day of." "You bet I am," he gushed, his earnest enthusiasm a rare moment of pure, unadulterated joy for a shared experience. Rick, holding the Jerry plus Rick's Day of Fun shirt, offered a wide, unsettling grin and deadpanned, "That's so smart, Jerry. No wonder you work in advertising." His eyes widened in mock wonder as he continued, "Wow, Jerry and Rick's Day of Fun? That's exactly what this is." Rick, emerging from his portal with a wide, unsettling grin and the shared t-shirt in hand, addressed Jerry, deadpanning, "I wish I was creative like you, Jerry." Jerry gazed at him, a subtle confusion on his face, as Rick continued to sarcastically claim that even curing cancer in his dimension wasn't as fulfilling as a cool slogan. The rapid rapids plunged down, hitting the water with a massive splosh that soaked the entire raft. While other passengers gasped in surprise, Rick and Morty were absolutely ecstatic, grinning widely and throwing their hands up in pure, unadulterated enjoyment of their day of fun. Morty, beaming with unadulterated joy, spread his arms wide as he reveled in the sight of the playful penguins, his laughter echoing. Even Rick, with a rare, genuine smile gracing his face, leaned into the wholesome Jerry plus Rick day fun, seemingly content in their shared, simple pleasure. Rick's face twisted with wide-eyed distress, clutching his pack as he watched Morty careen downward, screaming in terror while his own jetpack gave a desperate sputter. Rick, with an uncharacteristically wide, almost manic grin, wound up and hurled the baseball across the park. Morty, eyes gleaming with a mix of surprise and eager anticipation, watched the speeding ball head straight for his outstretched mitt, a simple moment of joy replacing his earlier distress. As the photo strip slowly emerged, each frame painted a vivid picture of Rick and Morty's tumultuous relationship, from Rick's goofy mischief and Morty's wide-eyed panic to their rare, genuine moments of uproarious, shared laughter. These snapshots encapsulated the chaotic yet undeniable bond between the mad scientist and his impressionable grandson. With uncharacteristic, wide smiles, Morty and an alternate Rick raised their glasses, the joyful clink echoing a rare moment of shared camaraderie between them. Their gazes met, full of a fleeting contentment that belied the usual chaos of their lives. The alternate Rick, beaming with wide-eyed joy, declared to Jerry that this might just have been the best day of fun yet. Morty, however, stood with crossed arms and a wistful gaze, quietly sighing a longing, "Why can't I just, come live here?" as the alternate Rick continued, warmly seeing Jerry as the son I never had, making Morty reluctantly prepare to part with this fleeting moment of warmth. Jerry, his chin resting contemplatively in his hand, let out a wistful sigh, wondering aloud, "Why can't I just, come live here?" His downcast gaze betrayed a deep yearning as he imagined a life where he and this alternate Rick could raise Eric Stoltz and Mask Morty together, finally becoming a real family. Rick, his wide eyes earnest, placed a hand on Jerry's shoulder and confessed, "Jerry, I see you as the son I never had. I would be heartbroken if you left." With a melancholic gaze, Jerry listened as Rick insisted he couldn't put anyone through that sort of pain, adding a final, heartfelt, "You're a real catch, Jerry Smith." A real catch. With a tearful embrace, Jerry wistfully stated, "I guess I'll see you in 4 weeks." Rick, eyes squeezed shut in a rare display of genuine emotion, held him tighter, earnestly replying, "I'll be counting down the days, old friend." Slumped and looking utterly defeated, Jerry returned home, his weary, "I'm home," barely a whisper. Beth, already pouring a glass of wine, met his gaze with a concerned expression, asking, "How did the interview go?" Morty, his eyes wide with confusion, looked up at Beth and admitted, "That? I didn't get it." Beth, holding her wine glass, avoided his gaze, her expression sharp with a weary resentment as she muttered about having to go on supporting 3 generations of one family, along with a never-ending mortgage all by myself then. Jerry Smith's eyes welled up with unshed tears, his face a picture of utter defeat as he clutched a piece of equipment and heard the cutting words, "You're a real catch, Jerry Smith." The sarcastic praise only served to deepen his already profound misery. As the chapter drew to a close, a surprisingly cheerful cake adorned with smiling caricatures of Jerry and Rick lay in a pan, a strange, sweet testament to their intertwined lives. An unseen voice offered a final, wry observation, a real catch, leaving the audience to ponder the chaotic, complex reality behind such a simple, sugary facade.